Hello and welcome to jobskillshare.org. In this video, we are going to cover how to properly learn Windows Server Administration and also how do you become a sysadmin in 2024 and upwards. Before we start, of course, as usual, I always talk about mental readiness. This type of roles are not entry level roles. It requires advanced skills, and that will require you to have that mental readiness where you have to actually watch theoretical videos, understand the whole infrastructure from theoretical point of view first, and then you basically use a lot of lab environments, home labs or practical labs, whichever lab environment you have to create that mindset that you have to actually do the projects to get this type of skills or be able to say that I'm confident to work on Windows Server in the modern environment. So the first recommendation and the prerequisite is that you are already working in an IT support. As an IT professional, you are working as a help desk, IT support, or any other role. There are below systems administration. So that is already done. So this way, we know that you know the basics at this point. You know what IT is. If you don't, make sure to go back to our roadmaps and start learning IT support roadmap, which you are going to basically learn a lot of basics and foundational knowledge, and of course, a lot of technical skills as well. Now, what are we talking about over here? In a realistic way, if I can explain this, I'm just going to basically go to base this job descriptions where you have systems administration job, and this is the type of title that you're going to come across when you start typing. I want to become a sysadmin. I want to become a Windows Server administrator or senior sysadmin, junior sysadmin. That's what they are going to actually name it. And the job description will have a lot of server type of things: server imaging, Active Directory, domain controller, group policy, and many things around server operating system. But of course, it server is not just an operating system because it gives so many other powerful services. That's what they're looking for. But can you really land a job like 70, 80, 90, or 100K jobs by just learning a Windows Server administrator or Windows Server operating system level skills? That's absolutely not true. You will find it in a very rare cases that that's going to be the case. So what are people looking for? Let's discuss this image that we have also discussed in our IT support training because it's kind of like similar. If you want to become an IT support in today's world, 2024 and upwards, you need to know the modern technologies as well. It's not just you going to a work, you spin up a computer and you add users to it and manage them and troubleshoot them. It's actually the mixture of what you have currently in the company and what they are using for the modern solutions. So in 2024 and upwards, if you really want to consider systems administration or Windows Server administration, you have to really go with how companies are managing their systems. Think about it. If traditionally a system administrator, let's say, managed an Active Directory on a virtual environment like VMware, then that's there. They have been using it for years, and group policy and system management, and they have probably local applications that they have deployed on those servers. Everything was running and you basically logged into those VMs and you are the person who basically managed that server operating system. Whichever application that they were using it, you are the one who were managing it. But most likely now when you start applying for these jobs, you're going to find out that the company is hybrid, meaning that they have maybe migrated some of their VMs to Azure, like, or AWS. In this case, I'm just going to talk about Azure. So let's say they moved a lot of their applications. They may have a website that was running internally from their IIS server, which was, let's say, their local server running a whole website. And maybe they said that's not a real best practice today. Let's move it to Azure Web Apps or some other technologies in the cloud. So then their website is running inside the cloud. So you can see they may go to the business or log into their infrastructure environment, managing a lot of things that are still running inside the business, but they may also be getting into Azure and Microsoft Intune and some other applications, Microsoft Office 365 administration. many other areas where there will be touching cloud. So what does that become for, like, what kind of title usually people will use to hire you for such type of skills? They will call you hybrid system administrator or hybrid engineer or hybrid server engineer. So if you look into reality and if you really want to get these jobs these days, in this market, you need to know the traditional management, and you also need to know how things are done at the hybrid level. So I'm going to now explain and break it down for you how you need to learn this, because if you're new to IT, even from IT support world, you can't just learn the traditional and then move to hybrid immediately. Actually, there's something in the middle that you need to learn to make yourself hybrid engineer. Now, hybrid is very easy for somebody like an experienced sysadmin. Let's say they were working traditionally on Active Directory, VMware, and all that kind of stuff, and then one day they started working in Azure, so they start touching Azure. Another day they start working on some Intune stuff, and another day start working on Intune. Unofficially, let's say they are working on all these technologies, so they may have already got an idea by hands-on and everything, and naturally they just became hybrid. But if you are new and you want to learn this stuff and you don't have this capability, and who's going to actually teach you this stuff, naturally you cannot just become a traditional to hybrid by not learning cloud first. This is why I'm going to explain this in a step by step. So if you watch this video, you probably will save yourself months of research, months of struggle, months of stress by just figuring all of this out, because this is very confusing and Microsoft is known for making people confused. So let's just talk about that. So let's summarize. You want to go out, you go to Indeed.com and you start typing Microsoft Systems and Windows Server System Administrator, and you want to become this person. And all of a sudden, when you click on it, they are throwing some Azure ID, Azure stuff, and then they're doing a lot of mixed match type of things are going on. You will clearly know that this is a hybrid company. If they don't mention anything about Azure or cloud, or it's just totally straight up servers, Active Directory, you need to manage VMware, Networking Plus. Like, for example, this job, most likely it doesn't have anything to do with Azure at this point. Maybe they may have, but maybe this is a traditional job. Like, for example, only this type of management. When you have virtualization, Windows Server, and inside Windows Server, you're managing a lot of stuff, and they're hiring you just for that, and they're paying you, let's say, 90K or 100K. That's good. But in most cases, 90%, even this company will move to cloud immediately at some point, and then you will find yourself to be a hybrid admin. You're the hybrid admin. Then you have to really learn things on the fly. So, what is the proper way over here? Let's discuss that, because this is what's happening to a lot of people. So, let's go back to this diagram. Now, as we mentioned, that the first thing is the mental readiness, that without this, I don't think you can really do this job, because this is a lot of you need to look into things, watch things, be patient, learn from some people, like even online videos, and watch things step by step to move into a sequence type of learning. So, this is number one. Without this, I don't think it's possible. Second is that yes, you have some background in IT, so you know how networking works and all that kind of stuff at the basic level. Okay, now this is a prerequisite. Basically, this is our course by saying that you need to know about network and systems administration, which is a roadmap and a course in our platform. You can either take it self-paced or you can take it as a coaching style where an instructor can watch your progress and even help you out. Now, this is going to target Network Plus 008 certification. Now, why is this important? In this type of roles, you go and you start working in IT and you start fixing things, and you really don't need to know how things are working. As long as somebody can show you and you can copycat that solution, then you're good to go. In IT support, you kind of get away with that. But in here, when you are becoming a sysadmin, nobody is going to be expecting that you can just copy things from internet and come here and implement it the way that internet have taught you. You really need to understand what is DHCP, what is DNS from practical level, meaning from theoretical to practical level. You need to go in and you need to understand these core services, and somebody have to break it down in a very good extensive way, and that's also covering this type of certification. So that is like a core prerequisite before you say, I want to learn about something more like servers, because the server is running on top of VM or virtualization or VMware or Hyper-V. And what is that running on top? That's running on top of networking. So if you don't know about networking, then you can't understand the virtualization. If you can't understand the virtualization, you cannot get into these servers, because it's not just managing the operating system. Because something goes wrong and you don't know where things are happening, maybe it's happening on the networking level. So this is a requirement. A lot of people get confused, like, why can't I just get into a server administration, just start building Active Directory? It doesn't work that way. As a sysadmin, if you don't know these things, then I don't think you can really understand how DNS works in Active Directory, how DHCP works in whole server, all that services. Basically, if you don't know the whole point of it, then these are just GUI, and you will just need to copy paste things and all that kind of stuff. But that's not going to work for a long term engineer type of job. And later, I'm going to show you practically how you need to start learning in JSS. But right now, I'm just breaking things down for you. After that, you need to start working. Once you finish this, you can start working on Windows Server Administrator Certificate. And I named this MCSA Retired. Now, you must be thinking, in 2024, why are you mentioning MCSA, which Microsoft retired it? Now, here's the problem. When you go to jobs like this one, for example, this job that we just opened, this is a MCSA type of skills right now. This has nothing to do with what they're teaching us or what they're pushing us, or they're telling us to pass those exams like AZ 800 and 801. That's basically a server level skills where you need to migrate things to an Azure environment. So if there are so many jobs out there, and even if they hire you for a hybrid job and they have still, let's say, this type of environment, everything is running under this type of skill set, then you are under the MCSA type of certification skill set. So even in some of the jobs, people are still looking for MCSA, which to me, Microsoft have done bad job over here by just pushing us towards AZ 100 and not explaining all of this, how companies are working these days. I mean, this is how we are going to get the job. So we really don't care about what Microsoft is pushing us towards, but at the same time, you need to understand how companies are hiring you. So if you look at this, this is basically a totally MCSA type of skill set, and that's just previously known as three different type of administration, configuration of the server, identity, and blah blah blah, many other things. And if you take that course that I just showed you right now, that's all MCSA type of learning, meaning you get into a server, you know how to manage it, you know how to configure DNS, DHCP, different type of roles in the server, features, and all that kind of stuff. You're just playing around in a normal operating system, and you get to familiar yourself with the server environment. And we are going to use 2019 server in this course because a lot of companies are on 2019. People will not hire you for 2022, because people will hire you for 2019 and then they will test you on upgrading the 2019 to 2022, migrating, upgrading type of skills. Even some companies are on 2016, but we're not going to cover that. We're going to cover from 2019 because I think this is almost getting done now. So this is how we are going to do things, because we are going to teach you what people are looking for at the job. We're not going to teach you something that is extremely brand new and had a lot of confusion, and some company don't even have implemented it yet. So now, why are we telling people that after you finishing Windows Server Administration Certificate, which acquires you that sort of skill set to prepare you for this type of jobs, this one right here, which is just server administration, and then what if you come across a job where it's basically saying you need to know about Azure, connecting virtual machine to Azure, hybrid type of stuff. We have a website that's running on Azure and we will hire you for that. We'll pay you $100,000, things like that. But then the thing is this, you cannot jump directly to the hybrid AZ 800 and AZ 801 skill set without you first going to the Cloud Administration Essential, which is going to cover AZ 900 Cloud and Cloud Plus CompTIA in our platform, or AZ Cloud Administration Roadmap AZ 104. This is like, if you want to have a little more extensive learning on the cloud, then you will basically take 1 and 2 after finishing the Windows Server Administration MCSA certificate in JSS. Okay, now why? Because once you learn about the cloud administration and know what is cloud first, what is cloud, what is virtualization, what is XYZ, what is container. Then you go into the AZ800 and 801, and you will be suddenly bombed with all of these Azure connecting services. Meaning, if you didn't know what is container, then how can you even go straight from here to here? I mean, who's going to tell you what is container then? Who's going to tell you what is intra? Who's going to tell you what is web apps? Who's going to tell you what is migrating? What is migrating a virtual machine from normal server to an Azure? What is Azure? So you see, this is where the big issue with Microsoft is that they have totally ignored that people need to go through this route first, then come to become a hybrid. Because in the company traditionally, when it was a traditional company, I'm going to call it T, that's how you started to become a sysadmin, because you're working inside the servers and everything. Then people started to start touching cloud and everything, and then they realized that there's a potential in the cloud. So then they start putting a lot of their services in the cloud. Then this is where the hybrid position gave birth, and that's how people are now saying that we are looking for hybrid. So you see, it came like this, right? It didn't came like this. So this is what you need to understand over here as a system engineer and Windows Server administrator, that there is a flow to how to become a sysadmin properly in this modern world. Now you must have a question that this is such a long route. I mean, I need to learn about networking first, and I'm going to have to learn about servers, and I'm going to have to learn about the cloud type of thing like Azure, and then I'm going to become a hybrid sysadmin. Then that's actually the reality, because this is a very advanced job. And that's why the pay, if you look at the pay, these are very highly paid jobs. And if people are not paying you a high amount, then you should consider to move out and find a company that will pay you, because you're doing almost two jobs right here. You're managing a traditional MCSA type of skill set as system administration, and you're also managing cloud at this point. So you are kind of doing two jobs. So you definitely deserve more money, and that's where, if people are smart, they will look for more money in this position. Now, again, there is no hard requirement in anything in IT. You can just come here, do this, and just straight went to hybrid if you have that capability of learning and you feel like you have that smart brain, like which I don't have. And I usually call these people lucky people that can do these things. I think that's a lot of stress. So I'm not going to tell my members or JSS members that you will do something like this. You will need to follow a proper way that I'm explaining. So now let me show you in on our website how you are going to tackle this on a roadmap style, so you have practical approach now after this. So as I mentioned, if you are new to IT and you're getting started, then you're going to become a premium member of JSS. That's where all the capabilities are available, like labs and everything. You click on roadmaps, and the first thing you need to do is to start with the modern IT support roadmap. If you're new to IT, you just got a job, you want to enhance your skills, you want to become confident, this is where you need to get started, and then you can move up to hybrid Windows desktop administrator if you want to become a little more experienced in this side of job role. For server administration, you will scroll down, and this is what I talked about, the network plus 008 or transitioning skills, and that is this right here. You need to come over here, and basically you need to start this roadmap. And that's where you're going to learn about that, like what is DHCP, what is DNS, all of that stuff in a practical way, theoretical way, in a very nice way. And then after that, I said that you should, if you want to get into Windows Server administration, then you should start this roadmap, which is going to teach you a lot about Windows Server operating system skills. So let's just open that and let's see what we have here. Let's go ahead and continue this. And you see we have only one course, but that's a very big course, and it has an administration lab associated with it. So that's going to be a part of it. You're going to go ahead and click on this course, and then you will start this course. As you see, as usual, our new format, the way it works is the first we have partner content. So it's going to say all the installation, partner, lecture, and demo. So the partner is going to go through theoretical information, and they will show demo. So they're going to cover some really strategic areas of the server in the current skill set. So you see how they have all these partner demo and everything. And then if you come down, then there is this lab video will start right here, installing core services 2019 server and lab video. So these are exercises and tasks directly coming from lab. So even if you're doing a lab and you get stuck, you can actually watch these videos. We have done very hard work to create every single exercise in this course to make it very easy for you to not get stuck, not wait for the support. And even if you get stuck and these videos are not correct, some issues are happening, then you can also reach out to the support. So there's no way you can get stuck as a sysadmin to learn these type of skill set. Okay, so once you finish that, that's very practical course. You're going to have a solid understanding of networking right here, network 00 plus type of skill set. Then you're going to become a more of like a server administrator. You're going to be very confident, and that's where then I say that if you start looking for these jobs and you are coming across hybrid skill set, meaning they're throwing Azure and that sort of stuff, then what you need to do, you need to add cloud administration essentials roadmap first. This is going to teach you about the essentials, a little bit of PowerShell, maybe some Linux as well. So this is going to cover that part because that's very important for cloud administrators. And then when you come down, you can do the Azure 104, which is Azure Cloud Administrator Roadmap. It's really up to you if you want to actually cover AZ 104 or not. You can, but this is a must. Cloud Administrator Essential Skills is a must. This is just if you want to go a step ahead, and then you need to start the hybrid system administration roadmap. So let me actually open this roadmap and prove it to you why we are making you do the cloud first to understand the hybrid after you are done with the cloud administration. So let's go ahead and start the hybrid. And you see we have two video courses at this point. These are all video courses. Maybe later on we may add some sort of like a customized projects to it with using our practice lab. So let's go ahead and open this course. And this is like the first series of this course. And if you look at it, what does it start with? Look at this right here. Deploy Active Directory for hybrid environment, meaning they are expecting you to know already about Active Directory. They want you to know about Active Directory. So they expect their expectation is that you already know about a lot of networking, how Active Directory was deployed and blah, 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 all of that stuff. And now you see how it says deploy Azure Domain Controller. Now, this is where you should ask yourself this question. Can you really do this if you have not known about Azure at this point? How can you even do this? If you come across all of these right here, it's going to be touching Azure and different type of cloud services right here. Join Windows Server to Azure ADDS. And that's Intra ID these days. Hybrid identity. This is all Azure connection. How would you know this stuff if you have never touched cloud before? This is going to become extremely confusing for you. And this is what the Microsoft is saying right now. Like that's like the MCSA. That's like the kind of like what you need to learn. So that's to me is crazy because they are not talking about, I mean, they are touching servers, but they're totally going straight to cloud and just deploying things in the cloud and assuming that we will know all of these things like containers. Like these are pretty advanced things. How are we going to know all these things if we have never touched it in that sort of learning? I mean, they just want us to learn this. So even if anybody with a common sense, when they look at this, you need to know about cloud first. So this is why we made our solution that you need to do this. I mean, if you finish this roadmap and even if you do this, I think you're going to be in good shape. But if you want to take it to the next level and you don't want to be confused at all, then you need to also cover AZ Cloud Administrator Roadmap, which is going to cover AZ 104. And then you come to the hybrid and 800 and 801. And that really becomes like, at the end, you become like that modern experienced sysadmin or server admin or whatever you want to call yourself, a hybrid sysadmin, because you have done so much at this point that you should be extremely in good shape because you know these things, how to move things, how to move it to the cloud, and you will come across different issues and you will resolve them and blah blah blah. So this is how it's done in JSS. Of course, we take a lot of time to do these things, but this when it comes to skills, we are not playing around. We are going for long-term solutions, for better solutions that make people earn a lot of money and they move up from IT support, but they still have a platform that can back them up for a very, very long time, which not many platforms are doing. Thank you so much.